really got to think about, some people would be so quick to say, you know what, are y'all not working hard enough? Are y'all not trying to get off y'all butt? Y'all see we out here getting it, this and the third. And the whole time, some people, family trees are still bound by the laws and the rules that was placed back in these 1900s. What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets React, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we are back with another American reaction. Super excited about this video, guys. You guys requested us to do this video. We did do a video a while back about like the segregation of South Africa, and of course the topic came up about the apartheid that not too long ago ended in 1994, I believe. But a lot of us know who Nelson Mandela is, and I think that this video is very important for us to do because although we know who Nelson Mandela is around the world, a lot of y'all don't like know the ins and outs. Y'all haven't pieced it together, the significance of who he truly was, right? So we're super excited about this video to do with you guys. If you're new to us and we're new to you, make sure you scroll down, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the post notification bell because we're on the road to 100K. And we cannot get there without you guys. All right, join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
On April 27, 1994, Nelson Mandela cast his vote in the first free and democratic elections in South Africa, marking the official end to racial oppression and apartheid rule. Apartheid, a term we've heard before, but what exactly is it? The word itself stems from the South African dialect of Dutch Afrikaans and literally means apartness. But for millions in South Africa, it held a much darker reality.
Tune in, check it out, man.
Okay, before we even get started,
it's about to get going.
So, you guys know, like, we had, like, Jim Crow laws in the United States, in the South, and things like this. This is similar to apartheid, but it's not. Apartheid to the United States is like what slavery was to us, right? So, apartheid to South Africa is what slavery was to the United States and abroad. Haiti, everywhere. Okay, right, everywhere, so think of it in that terms. Don't really think of it as segregation because it was a lot deeper.
Yeah.
It was a system put in place by the Afrikaner National Party in 1948, which allowed for lawful segregation using racial divides.
Will you intensify your present policy of racial segregation?
The policy of, what do you mean by intensify? Whether any further measures are to come, it's impossible for me to say at the moment. I do not know of any.
The policy governed South Africa for nearly 50 years, but racial segregation existed long before apartheid even began. In 1913, the government passed the Natives Land Act, limiting black African land ownership to 7% and restricting them from buying or occupying land except as employees of a white master. More than 3 decades later, the practice of systematic racial segregation was given the name apartheid and was extended under the government led by the National Party. The party's goal was to separate South Africa's white minority from its non-white majority, in addition to separating non-whites from each other. They did this by putting in place hundreds of race laws touching every aspect of life, preventing equal opportunities for basic human rights to people of color, including dictating where they could live, work, go to school, all based on their race. Interracial relationships and marriages were illegal, and perhaps most importantly, non-whites did not have a right to vote.
All these laws after 1948 had one purpose in mind, and that was to ensure that the 4 million whites in South Africa had all the resources, the wealth, the jobs, the mines concentrated.
That's what all this paperwork, that's what this was about. So every other race can be put down and one race can rise up. And if you look around today, you get a real good, perspective of why things are the way they are.
Right.
Period. Like,
right. And it's always amazing to me. Like, not really amazing, but I can't think of the term right now. But frustrating to hear those dates. Like, those dates, our grandparents, our parents were alive during this time. We were alive during this time. So us being born in the United States, we had more rights and liberties than people in South Africa.
but at the same time, you really got to think about, some people would be so quick to say, you know what, are y'all not working hard enough? Are y'all not trying to get off y'all butt? Y'all see we out here getting it, this and the third. And the whole time, some people, family trees are still bound by the laws and the rules that was placed back in these 1900s.
Right.
So they're still suffering from what has been placed in play from years and years and years ago. That family curse hasn't been broken yet. So it's just a little... Like, it's like people not putting a real good thought into why certain people are still in poverty and why some people are still cardboard boxing and holding signs up. And like, all this stuff still plays. If you look around, like I said, you look around today, you still see this happening.
Right, you do. And I mean, you know, of course, we have seen the luxuries of South Africa, but there's still, you know, there's still like certain sanctions that's put in play where they are not getting equality,
right?
You know, so it's like when we discuss like slavery and things like that, it was 100 and blah 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 years ago. But like we've said before, like our great grandparents who are still, well, my great grandmother is still living, like she only missed it by what, 67 years, 47 years, I forgot like the right number. I think it's 67. Okay. She only missed it by 67 years. These people who went through apartheid are still living. Still living.
Yeah.
Whew,
families are still impacted.
Yes.
In their hands.
The Race Classification Act put people in 4 different categories. White at the top, followed by Indian, colored or of mixed descent, and black at the bottom. And within those groups were subgroups, further segregating ethnic and tribal groups.
Oh, wow.
A number of pseudo-scientific tests were used to classify individuals suspected of not being European. For example, the pencil test. This involved putting a pencil in an individual's hair.
What?
If the pencil fell to the floor, they passed the test and were considered white.
Come on, man.
If it stayed put, they were considered colored.
Wow, y'all did it like that?
Crazy.
Come on,
oh my God,
man.
that makes me think of this movie. And yes, y'all, I'm thinking of another movie that I don't remember the title.
Get y'all internet out. Let us know what it is.
I don't remember the title, but it was a girl. She looked like she could be mixed race or black, but her parents were white. And she was attending this school. It was in Africa. I don't know if it was South Africa. It had to be South Africa. It's a movie. I don't remember.
It's a movie.
I don't remember the title. But I watch a lot of movies, so I don't remember the titles. But
like the one you fell asleep on? Like,
stop.
Okay.
Stop.
Okay.
That's a good one, too.
We're going to catch. We're going to get back to it. We'll get back to that one.
But the girl, like, she had white parents. She was not, like, she wasn't, what you call it? She wasn't adopted or foster care or anything. This was her biological parents, and she came out a darker shade. So when she went to school, they told her parents that they had to take her out of that school, and come to find out, like, one of her parents were like a percentage of colored down the line. Like, it was crazy. It was a crazy movie. Yeah, and she ended up going back.
So did she?
She's still living. She's still living.
Real life?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah. If we had time, I would look it up. I'll probably put it in like the comment section.
Yeah, we're gonna have to put that in there because you watched that without me.
Yeah.
I you had to, like, cause I'm trying to see where you're going with it. I'm like, what is this movie called? Did I see it before?
I don't think you did. This was during the pregnancy. I was just watching so many movies.
Oh yeah, you burnt me with those. A whole bunch of movies.
Black South Africans were forced to carry identification at all times known as a passport.
A passport,
Resistance to apartheid laws came in the form of mostly non-violent political protests. Together, freedom fighters like Nelson Mandela, Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, and Ahmed Kathrada started to play an important role for both the African and Indian National Congress parties.
Man, and again, moment of silence for these men and a bunch of other, great leaders who really went back and sacrificed, their whole lifestyle just so they can break laws and create
Yes.
equality among
Yeah.
the people. Like, for real though, that's big.
It is.
In 1952, they began a defiance campaign calling on people to purposely break apartheid laws in order to get arrested. People of color got onto white buses, used white toilets, and entered white areas. Their hope was that the high number of prisoners would cause the system to collapse. But it did not. Thousands ended up in jail. And in 1953, the Public Safety Act and Criminal Law Amendment Act were passed to impose even more severe penalties for demonstrating against the law. On March 21, 1960, a protest against the use of passbooks turned violent in the black township of Sharpeville, when police opened fire on unarmed protesters, leaving nearly 70 dead and 180 wounded, including children. A state of emergency was declared nationwide, and opposition political parties, including the ANC, were banned, forcing many to move their fight underground.
There are many people who feel that it is useless and futile for us to continue talking peace and non-violence against a government whose reply is only savage attacks on an unarmed and defenseless people.
By 1964, most resistant leaders, including Mandela, were sentenced to life imprisonment following the infamous Rivonia trials, which drew international attention. Eventually, a tide of global pressures put the government in a difficult position.
The world was changing. The Soviet Union had collapsed, and that was a major movement. There was increased calls for the divestment of companies from South Africa. There was a global movement to boycott South Africa.
Coupled with unrest within the country and the continued armed struggle, negotiations began between the ANC and the National Party. Slowly, apartheid began to dismantle. In 1990, at the age of 71, Nelson Mandela was released from prison.
I stand here before you not as a prophet, but as a humble servant of you, the people.
Elections were held 4 years later, with the ANC winning 62% of the vote and Nelson Mandela becoming president. The people of South Africa won their country back, and apartheid was abolished.
Never, never, and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another.
I feel that, man.
Yes.
Yo, that's some information for you right there.
Yes.
I mean, again, look, supposed to been locked up for life,
Right.
and he got out.
Yes.
That's big.
Change did come.
Facts.
It took some time, but it happened, you know, and again, like, this is fresh for them. This is not hundreds of years ago. This is 30 years ago. 30?
I mean, you can say 30 years. I'll go with 30 years. I mean, these people have been looked down upon, you know what I'm saying, for periods of time, and violence was the least of their worries that they wanted to, you know, bring back into the community just to get answers. They tried to be smart, strategic, in all such a ways, but violence is just not one of the things that we wanted to do.
Right, and look, they had to do what they had to do.
I'm pretty sure there was some things happening, but overall, as a people, like when they was marching, it wasn't violent. They wasn't trying. They just wanted to be heard.
But the other side made it violent.
And that's how it go. Majority of the times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we hope this give you guys a better understanding of apartheid and help you guys to understand the more we go into conversations concerning South Africa. So we hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. Like this video, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell. We have enabled our super thanks if you like to support the channel that way, as well as our join feature to become a VIP member of the channel.
Check it out.
Sending your reaction requests to our description box below. We'll see you soon.
Peace.